Well, it's significant from a number of standpoints. First of all, it's one of the first times that a unique partnership's been formed between an airport, a state agency, Florida DOT, and the FAA to fund the building of this. Secondly, it enhances the level of safety over the 30-year-old tower we have here today. And third, it opens up about 100 acres on the infield of the airport for future development. And since the airport doesn't derive any tax funds, our business operation is what funds the operation of the airport, and this opens up a whole new level of possibilities for future airport development from a business standpoint. Creates jobs, economic opportunity for the community, so we're real pleased at being able to start this process today. As I said earlier, part of it is that we have to keep up and have our business operations generating the revenue, and part of it as well is to make sure that we keep the facility in good shape, because if we don't, then we're going to have to tear it down and build a new one. We just retired all the debt that we had on the old terminal, but we also modernized that old terminal. It's now been completely redone, so we have no debt and basically a new terminal. So it's a key issue is to make sure that we don't have to incur a lot of debt. And by having all our facilities in great shape and developing more business revenue, we're financially very sound. Well, the Congressman's been a great supporter of the airport. He's actually a tenant here at the airport as well. And he's always been a great supporter of the efforts we've made here. Since we have to work with a lot of federal agencies, not just on funding issues, but also on safety and those types of issues, it's very important that you have elected leaders who have an interest in your airport. And the Congressman understands how important it is to economic opportunity for us to have a very viable and vibrant airport. We're hoping that once we get the tower built that we can develop that 100 acres of infield, maybe put some infrastructure in there so that it'll help spur that development. And I think that's probably the next big project on the horizon.
It's great for Manatee and Sarasota County. It's something I've been working on for 6 years with the local people here. It's a great partnership to build this tower and lead to more safety and more opportunity for jobs and economic growth in the region. But I had Secretary LaHood here, I think 6 years ago, and we talked about this tower. It's a partnership between the federal government, the state, and the airport authority. So I'm very proud about how we've worked together to make this a safer airport. The tower that's here is 30 years old. This is going to be the latest technology in terms of a new tower. It's not just about commercial travel, it's also about a lot of hobby pilots and others. It's about public safety, so I'm very excited to be a small part of this. Well, if you look at Tampa or Miami, Atlanta, any of the big airports, they're huge economic drivers. And to me, what that means is good paying jobs locally in Manatee and Sarasota County. So it's about public safety, number one. But it's also huge to me about jobs locally in our community where young people or anybody has an opportunity for a good paying job. Well, we're one of the best places to live and work in America. People are going to come. We got to make sure the infrastructure's in place. So I was part of a bipartisan bill that's going to have more money for projects in our area. Projects many times take 4 or 5 years from the time you start from a concept through the full process. So we got to make sure we've got the roads and bridges in place. It's local tax dollars out of Manatee and Sarasota County to go to Washington. I want to make sure we get our fair share back here.
Well, the expansion of the airport is a significant development for economic development because hopefully that will allow us to bring more flights in here, more direct flights to major cities so that we can communicate that message to companies that are looking to locate here, that it's easy to get from the Sarasota Bradenton area to any other major city so that they can conduct their business. Well, anytime there's job creation and it's high-wage jobs, we absolutely support and applaud that effort. Rick Piccolo and his team have just done a fantastic job here at the airport, probably one of the only debt-free airports in the country, so we certainly appreciate that fiscal management and fully support what they're doing here and are glad that they're economic development partners of ours.
Well, you know, it's really important for SRQ, for Manatee, Sarasota counties to have this facility located in Manatee County and Sarasota County. It's a great benefit for the airport. I understand that FAA is going to be training people here eventually, so that's going to be wonderful. It's going to bring more people into Manatee, Sarasota County area. These guys and gals are going to end up staying here, and I'm sure they're going to fall in love with it like the rest of us. I believe it's about a 15 million plus. Third of the money is being put in by SRQ, third by the state, and a third by the federal government. So we're all partners in this to make this thing one of the best tower facilities in the country, and I'm sure it will be. Well, as you know, the economy is key. It's about jobs in our community and good quality jobs that it's going to provide. Airports have really evolved, I think, over the last 20 years or so. It's not just a destination place to pick up or to leave to leave it on an airplane. It's a place where a lot of commerce happens, a lot of activity here, a lot of great jobs at an airport facility. It brings in a lot of money, a lot of commerce to a community, and SRQ does that for Manatee and Sarasota counties.
Morning, everyone. To show you that the best laid plans don't always go well, we had thought when the construction contract got delayed about 3 months that the one good piece of news was that at least when we do the groundbreaking, the weather would be cool. Hopefully the project runs smoother than that. With that, I want to welcome everyone to the groundbreaking ceremony for the new FAA Air Traffic Control Tower at Sarasota Bradenton International Airport. My name's Rick Piccolo, and I'm the president and CEO of the airport, and I'll act as MC for today's event. Participants will be available for the media afterwards as well. I want to offer a special welcome to our honored guests today who will be speaking. Congressman Vern Buchanan, who is not only a longtime customer of the Airport Authority, but also has been a longtime supporter of the airport and our collective efforts to constantly improve the facility. We're also pleased to have FAA Southern Region Administrator here from Atlanta, Dennis Roberts, and Zach Birch, Government Affairs and Communications Manager from FDOT, without whose support this day would not have been possible from either of those agencies. You'll also hear from Dr. Peter Wish, Chairman of the Board of the Sarasota-Manatee Airport Authority. In addition, we have on hand Commissioners Baroof, Commissioner Stafford, Commissioner Spencer, and Commissioner Reinerson. So we're real pleased to have them all here. I'd also like to say thank you to all the elected officials that came and that are out in the audience. And finally, I'd be terribly remiss if I did not thank John Barnott and the Manatee County Building Department for their cooperative efforts during this process, which helped to move this project along tremendously. Now, without any further delay, it's my pleasure to introduce our friend and our supporter, Congressman Vern Buchanan.
Thank you. What an exciting day. I think back when I was coming over here today, I met Rick 20 years ago. We were on the board of the Sarasota Chamber, and I remember we talked about the importance of an airport in a community. When you look at Manatee and Sarasota County and they evaluate a community, one of the top things is a quality airport. And this is a good airport getting better. But building this tower, these towers, I think Rick had mentioned that there might be 100 people or 100 different airports that like a new tower, they pick 2 a year. This is something that we've worked on for, I think, the last 8 years. I think when Rick initially contacted me, we started working on it. We had the Secretary of Transportation here, Ray LaHood, who happened to be a friend of mine. He was on the Transportation Committee, I think, back then or at one point. But we brought him here. We talked about this because the tower that's here is 30 years old. So we're talking about safety, not just for commercial pilots, but general aviation, hobby pilots, which will be huge. And then the other side of it, from my standpoint, I've always felt about economic development. This is about jobs and opportunities. When you think about the big airports in the country, whether it's Tampa or Miami or Atlanta, Dallas, they create a lot of spin-off, small business opportunities, a lot of good paying jobs. So this is about safety, about more jobs, and this is a great airport, and it's getting better, and I'm glad to be a small part of that. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Congressman. Next, it's my privilege to introduce Mr. Dennis Roberts, who assumed the position of Southern Regional Administrator for the FAA in January of 2015. Dennis has over 30 years of experience in the aviation field with both the FAA and with airports, so he's keenly aware of the innovative efforts that went into this project, and we're pleased to have him here today. Dennis?
Thank you, Rick. And Congressman, we can't thank you enough for your support. Chairman, all the distinguished guests here today. On behalf of the FAA, we really want to commend Sarasota-Manatee Airport Authority for their innovative approach to this project. This, as Rick and I were talking about earlier, this is creative financing at its greatest. We could not have been successful without the great partnership across all the agencies. The fact that the Airport Authority has stepped forward to take a tremendous lead position in this, working with Florida DOT. I was formerly the director of the Aeronautics Commission for the state of Colorado, and we always were envious of the funding that Florida had available to them and how they supported their aviation community. This project is what we call in the airports world kind of a but for the opportunity to expand the capabilities of this airport and utilize some of our airport improvement program funding to help assist with this. But for that project, this tower wouldn't have been possible. So we're really proud to be a partner in this overall effort. We want to again commend all the parties and players that have been a part of this, and we really look forward to the enhanced capacity and safety that this new air traffic control tower will bring to this airport and the entire part of this great state of Florida. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you, Dennis, and thank you to the FAA for your continued support. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Zach Birch of the Florida Department of Transportation. Florida is blessed to have the most robust aviation support program in the nation, and it's a testament to the critical role aviation plays in Florida today. So it's now my pleasure to introduce Zach Birch.
Thank you. I want to first pass along Secretary Hadaway's apologies for not being able to make it. Something came up, and so he asked me to step in. So I'm a poor substitute, but I'll do my best. I also want to thank Wendy Sands and Paul Simmons from our aviation and intermodal divisions. Obviously, I'm the one up here, but they're the ones that did all the work to make this happen, along with our friends at FAA and the Airport Authority. This is a great project. We're happy to be able to work with FAA and with the Airport Authority to make something this important happen. This tower will open up 40 acres of additional development area, which will help create jobs and opportunities in Sarasota and Manatee counties. And we are also happy to say that based on an estimated completion date in July of 2017, it should be able to help accommodate more and easier traffic for our visitors coming for the World Rowing Championships. So we're excited about the whole project, and again, really pleased with how well we were able to work with our friends at FAA and the airport. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Finally, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Peter Wish, Chairman of the Board of the Sarasota-Manatee Airport Authority. While Dr. Wish has been on the board for about 3 years, he has jumped in with both feet and has taken a leadership role, as evident by his selection as chair by his fellow board members. Please welcome Dr. Wish.
This is always a problem for me. I need a box or something to stand on. Thank you, Rick. Congressman Buchanan, Regional Administrator Roberts, Government Affairs Manager Zach Birch, fellow and former board members and honored guests. It's a pleasure to welcome you all here today for our groundbreaking, which is really, as a few have attested to, been a labor of love and taken about 8 years of hard work by a lot of good people here. It's a unique partnership between the FAA, the FDOT, and the Airport Authority. The new facility will not only enhance the air traffic control operations and safety here at SRQ, but it does open 100 acres of prime airport infield property for future development. And this will ensure, I feel, the economic viability of the airport while creating jobs and a lot of economic opportunity. The new tower will provide expanded facilities and the latest FAA technology and personnel and replace the current facility, which is about 30 years old. So given the sizable demands on the FAA budget, this is a unique partnership and has enabled a $25 million improvement that would not have been possible without the support and the flexibility of all three of those agencies. I want to make a special note to thank Congressman Buchanan for his assistance, also to Governor Scott and to the FDOT Secretary Jim Boxold for their assistance, as well as the FAA Administrator Michael Huerta, the FAA Airports Administrator Eduardo Angeles, and the Deputy Associate Administrator Ben DeLeon for their efforts in finding a mechanism to make this happen. And of course, I want to thank all the fellow board members, present and past, and also our CEO, Rick Piccolo, for his relentless pursuit. And I'll say it's been relentless. It's noteworthy that the $16 million project that we're about to start is being performed by one of our premier local construction companies, Half Acre Construction, and this will provide local jobs and economic activity over the next 2 years of construction. So I'd like to thank you all for coming, and let's get on with our groundbreaking.
Yeah, this is a great project, and you had to qualify to submit a bid on this project, and the pre-qualification was you had to have tower experience, which of course we built Punta Gorda Tower a couple years ago. So really we were the only local contractor that was qualified to bid it, and very excited about it. We're going to keep the jobs local. It'll be Sarasota-Manatee employees, and the airport's been great to work with. That's correct. We've been working up at Port Manatee for years. We're working currently with the Loveland Center, and we work with several nonprofit organizations. Well, the fact that they're going to be able to open up 100 acres of industrial property just on the north side of the airport is really going to be great. There'll be aviation companies that didn't have the opportunity to move in here before will have that type of access now. Well, we're gonna break ground right after Thanksgiving, and we expect a 12 to 13 month construction project. I think a lot of it is just local labor, and we're working with a lot of the same people we've worked with in the past, and they have the ability to knock it out. Absolutely. I mean, the fact that this is going to be a landmark for North Sarasota County, South Manatee County, it's going to be right here on 41. It's going to be a real feather in our employees' cap to work on a project like this.
This is a great investment in our long-term future. The airport is one of our key pieces of infrastructure that help bring travelers into our area. It helps our local residents get to and from places they need to go as well. It's incredibly important to have the support of our congressional delegation. You know, yesterday in Congress, the House passed a long-term transportation funding bill. This will go to conference with the Senate. It looks like for the first time since 2005, we may have more than a short-term spending bill for transportation. Well, of course, the terminal will remain where it is, but I think that this whole corridor is of great importance to both Sarasota and Manatee counties. It's a gateway to the community for people who arrive here from all over the world.
It is. It's been an 8-year labor of love between several different people, including our great Congressman Vern Buchanan and our CEO Rick Piccolo, and a lot of hard work by a lot of staff to get this done. And I can't believe how great it is, because it's going to free up over 100 acres of prime land here at the airport to develop over the next few years, which will increase our economic opportunity, will create jobs. Of course, we have a local firm doing it, which is going to provide local jobs. So I'm very excited that we're going to bring this economic viability here, and we're going to increase, hopefully, the incentives that we offer the airlines so we can increase our flights. Well, I think you need all the different partners to make this happen. The FAA, of course, controls things mostly, but we needed the governor, and we needed the Secretary of Transportation, Jim Buxall, and we needed the Airport Authority, all working in unison to make this happen. And without that kind of cooperation, things just don't get done. Yes, that 100 acres that will be freed up by moving the tower will hopefully be developed with a strategic plan and visioning, which will then hopefully end up with some kind of partnerships, public-private, to develop that land, which will then provide the economics to further bring airlines in here and to expand their service. Well, the people in Sarasota love this airport, okay? And they're always telling me that. It's brand spanking new. Of course, the original airport was built in 1989. We've redone everything, the ticket wings, the baggage area, we're doing the customs now. We've redone the whole upstairs. So you have people in Sarasota have a brand new airport, and we're doing the whole landscaping on the outside now, taking out the median strip so that you can drive in. We have valet parking. We have a first-rate airport.
And it's debt-free.
And we paid off all the debt. So you can't have anything better than that. And it was a team effort to get this done.
The FAA is really excited about this particular activity because it brings together a very unique collaborative process that includes not only the FAA but also the state of Florida and the local airport authority. This particular facility will allow us to bring the newest and most advanced next-gen capabilities to the Sarasota area, which greatly will enhance our ability to provide safe and efficient air transportation to this part of the state of Florida. This is a very unique financial arrangement we have here. I call this creative financing at its best. We have been able to work over a period of about 8 years in looking at different sources of financing. Typically, air traffic facilities are funded under a different program for our facilities and equipment. This, however, utilizes the funding from our airport improvements program because it allows us to open up the airport for additional development, and it's in an area where the existing tower is located. So I call this a but-for project. But for the need to expand the airport's capabilities, we wouldn't have done this particular project with this funding. This is a very unique situation here. We typically don't fund these types of air traffic facilities with airport funding. However, they have been very creative here and helped us work together with the state of Florida and the local airport authority. If the opportunity presents itself in other locations around the country, we certainly would be open to that opportunity. I think this represents the collaborative attitude and the strong support for aviation across the state of Florida. To have Congress represented, to have your local congressional delegation represented, Florida DOT, and the strong economic development representation we have from the local business community is very, very highly to be commended.
Thank you.